Gore readings, fiends. Well, we got a Dan-free show, so that's already one thing in the mix. Yes, but tonight we're doing a special episode talking with Chris MacGibbon about the Night of the Demons announcements today, and we're going to get all the dirt and all the scoops as much as we can. And so first, as always, Pugs Dread. Say hello, Pugs.
Namaste. Howdy.
And Flesh and Regular, Chris MacGibbon of the spooky. Oh shit! I'm gonna fuck up the
name. he's out. Shit.
The Spooky Picture Show. Jesus.
There you go. Is it a hard name for people? Like I feel like it's.
Well, I was gonna say Creepshow Radio. It just kind of all jumbled.
Oh wow! Yeah, that's really old.
PTSD. It's the
Dan. I had to I'm not used to doing the opening, so we have Monkey Dan.
PTS Dan. Yeah.
You inherited him from Creepshow Radio, so that's all you.
Well, this is a nice new format, so maybe. So, big announcement today, Chris.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Night of the Demons 1, 2, and 3 coming
4K.
up from Scream. Yeah, Scream Factory. Yeah, it's crazy.
Shout out to Cream. Shout out to Scream Factory for getting the right guys to do this shit.
Yeah.
Don't make that face, Chris. You're a goddamn aficionado, especially about fucking what we're about to talk about right now. So, fuck yeah! Congratulations, guys. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Todd's not taking a lot of credit for this, but Todd helped as well.
I played my part.
He did. But before we got on air, I was saying to Pugs, it's funny, 10 years ago, my dumbass moved out to Southern California with, I think, like $700 in my pocket with like with an idea that Todd and I would start our own company producing extra features for Scream Factory, whoever. They were new when we did this. Like they were just starting out. And of course, like it just kind of, just one reason or another didn't work out. So I ended up coming back here, and him and I worked on these together. And I didn't even think about that until after we had already like submitted everything. Like, hey, by the way, remember 10 years ago when we tried to do this, and like I thought I had to move out there for this to work, and
I think we were focused on deadlines, so it didn't dawn on you until after.
Technology caught up with you guys. That's all that
apparently
happened. Now you can live in a cheaper area or more cost effective than out here where everything's fucking super expensive and dumb.
Yeah. Well, we did do some work on their first release of Demons and Witchboard. We scanned basically all those photos that are in the still galleries, and I think we also supplied the trailers as well. We had those scanned too, and I think we gave them those files.
Yeah, I know we definitely had the original theatrical rescanned.
Yeah, we had a couple copies of it, actually.
So, well, the big news. I mean, I guess we'll start at the top. Night of the Demons hitting 4K. The very first one.
For the 35th anniversary, nonetheless.
Is there an actual street date, or is it just October?
October 3rd.
Okay, there we go.
For all three of them. But I think if you still pre-order through Scream Factory, you get them like a week earlier.
Yeah, it's closer to a week now. I know it used to be closer to 2. But yeah, it's always nice to get it early.
It's true.
So, well, why don't you tell us some of the stuff you got accomplished for the first film?
Well, the first one, Scream Factory had already done, and there was when I was given the project in January, it was the first one wasn't on the ballot. It was just 2 and 3, and 2 other titles that haven't been announced yet that are coming out, I believe, in November. And I kind of said, okay, I had set out to interview Joe Augustin for the second film, and I had talked to him about it. He was down to do it. And then my guy went out to interview him, while he was there, he's like, well, let's talk about the first one too, since there's never been like a proper sit down interview with Joe for the first one. And we'll just do like a quick, 15 minutes about that, then we'll move on to the sequel. 35 minutes into that interview, they went on to part 2. So I got the footage and I went, this is mostly about the first film. This doesn't really make sense to include this on part 2. So I'll just make them, I'll tell them like, oh, I've got a new extra for the first one for you. Here you go. And then another extra fell into my lap with Jill Tereshita, the actress. She was interviewed for another project that didn't happen, and they talked about Night of the Demons. So somebody offered me up that footage. So I took it. And then Kevin Tenney's like, hey, I just found the work print in my garage for the first Night of the Demons. And I'm like, what in the hell? So next thing I knew, we had some new stuff for the first movie, and it was we were getting them more material than they thought. And we got a new audio mix on the first one as well, which should sound pretty fucking amazing. And yeah, there's some other cool stuff on there that I'm waiting on confirmation on that if it made it to the disc or not. I haven't heard for sure, but there are some things that may not have made the cut due to space issues. That we gave them so much stuff they didn't have enough room for everything. So there were some things that may fall by the wayside. I don't know for sure yet, but there's we got the alternate Halloween party title
Finally.
sequence, so that's pretty nifty. That was graciously supplied by Kevin Kuchever, who was the opening one of the animators of the opening animated title sequence. Him and his wife Kathy worked on that together back in the day, so he gave us a copy of that. And the work print has that title on it as well, but it's they called it a contrast black and white.
Winter Steel says Chris is the man. Zombie, Chris seems to have an awesome job.
And then we have a question from
And then
someone.
this asshole asks, what did you learn in the interview process that you didn't know before?
Wasn't he like supposed to be doing something else?
Uh-huh.
Thought
It's
this was
all right.
thought this
You'll
was a
throw it
Dan for sure. That's actually not a bad question.
That's
So
why I put it up.
yeah. Sorry, Dan. It's funny. I the interview process. What I did learn is that follow-up questions are super important. Just the one question usually isn't enough to get somebody's brain moving. A lot of times when you ask somebody a question, they'll answer pretty quickly. They don't tell much of a story until the follow-up question happens. Like, what was it like being on set? Who did you get along with everybody? Was there someone, maybe you didn't quite get along with? And they say, oh no, everyone was great. Okay, well, what was it like working with Zoe Trilling? Oh my God, Zoe was so amazing. This, one day Zoe, and they start going on a story. You have to unlock it. And it's, that sometimes can be difficult if it's somebody, especially if they haven't seen the movie in a while. We lucked out. Some of the people who we interviewed for 2 and for 3 watched the movie right before their interview. So it was
I think Kevin was recommending that to I know people he talked to.
He was, yeah. I was asked that by a few folks when we did the commentary for 2 if they should watch it beforehand. And I told them to it was up to their discretion. I said, because some people like to be surprised when they watch a movie again for the first time in 30 years. But for some people, they want to be prepared. So it's just whatever you guys want to do. I don't want to tell you one way or the other. And I left it up to them. So.
All right. Very cool. I know I think I can say it. I was present for one of the features that was being shot that I'm looking forward to.
You were. Yeah.
People to get to see.
Not a first time, I believe. First time type of an interview that we did. We took the director from the first movie and the director from the second movie and had them sit in a room and talk to each other about their movies. And we were talking about interviewing Brian Trenchard Smith. He graciously agreed to do the interview. And Kevin Tenney was super helpful with everything. And I mean, even the sequel, which he wasn't involved in, he was trying to help out with whatever he could. And I just kept thinking, like, I really want to get him involved in this somehow, but there's really no way for me to do it because he didn't work on the second film. He only showed up for one day on the set. So how am I going to do this? And I said, oh, I know. This would be cool. What if Kevin interviewed Brian and Brian interviewed Kevin? I don't think anyone's ever done that before. And I pitched the idea to Shout Factory and they loved it. They're like, that's really cool. Yeah, if they'll do it, let's do it. And they both, of course, agreed to do it. So, and I was actually really jealous because Todd got to be there for that and I didn't. I got to get the phone calls of like, oh, it's going great. And I'm like, fuck you.
Like, I thought it would. That's why I suggested it.
My favorite thing on one of the things that I was messing with, there's a part where Chris is calling in the background trying to see if it's not getting shots.
I think that's on one of the outtakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should have Skyped him in. Just put a little bit in the background there.
You know what was stupid was I was home when they were shooting it, so I could have Skyped in. I think that was the worst part, was I was sitting at home wondering how it was going. I wasn't doing something else. I wasn't working on something else. I think I had up until that point, I'd had pretty much everything edited and submitted because I was trying to submit things as I did them versus holding on to everything at once. And then they asked me to submit everything at once. And I went, oh, okay. Because it was getting like confusing. They were getting stuff every other day or like 2 days in a row. They'd get like a bunch of stuff and then they'd get nothing for 3 days. And then so like, can you just submit it all at once? And, I said, okay, this is my first time doing this solo. So my apologies, but they were really cool to work for. They pretty much, they were really excited about everything we were delivering. And I don't know if this might be out of school talk, but these weren't planned as collector's editions. They were supposed to be just standard editions, but we ended up having for the second two, we ended up having so much material that they bumped them up to collector's editions. So
once you fucking knock that first domino down, and you have all this gold, why the hell not? So.
Yeah, I know, right?
So let's talk about the swag in the set. There's a few options. They've come a long way from those paper hats, huh, Pugs?
Yes, they have, Todd.
So
where's your paper hat?
That burger thing is on the other side of this wall. I still have it.
I threw myself off of that.
You said a prism sticker or something.
Yeah, the prism stickers. I like that they're doing that. Those are very throwback.
Yeah. Well, that's the original design for the prism sticker.
Is it?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I actually have one. I have two of them actually. I remember talking to the producer about them and saying, "Oh, have you ever seen this? Where did you get that from?" He'd never seen it, heard of it, didn't know they did it. And I said, "Oh, well, I have two of them if you want one." He goes, "No, I'm good." So I was like, okay. So I held on to my other one.
Do you have a picture of what's the available packages?
That's what I was gonna.
Let's bring that up
because I know there's some other cool stuff.
Show the fine folks.
Yes.
No paper hats, thankfully. They've come a long way, which I'm glad, and they got my boys on this. So.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's pull it up. Here we go. There it is.
All right.
How's that?
Does it pop up?
Okay.
All right, so here we go. So what do we get in the top set?
So I also want to point something out. I had no idea they were doing any of this.
So you just learned that too, then?
I might know how. You want to know how I found out that this was a thing? My buddy Eric texted me, said, "Oh, the alternate slips look nice." I said, "What alternate slips?" And I went on, and because they don't have to tell you everything. You're just you're producing the extras or whatever. But I'd never seen any of these pieces of art. I was very confused, but also thrilled because I think they're fantastic. Joel Robinson did these, and they're awesome. I love them. I can't wait to have them.
Are those pins right there? They have lightning pins. That's hilarious. I can't wait.
There are pins for the first movie, the sticker, the lobby cards, like all this. I had no clue. Not a clue. I didn't know they were going to be collector's editions until,
like Christmas. Right on.
Yeah. Are the lobby cards reprints? I'm sure you know the lobby cards well.
There was never a lobby card set. These are all usually designed. I think
that
Beyond...
actually makes sense. That I think if there was, I'd seen them by now.
Yeah, well, we definitely would have. Beyond Terror Design, I think, did those. So that's those came out really cool.
And I do, the new art is I like it much better than the first go around on the first Blu-ray.
And the second go around.
The Blu-ray, the first Blu-ray.
Yeah, the first and the Steelbook. The art on the Steelbook wasn't that.
Oh, I don't even count those Steelbooks.
Todd's not a Steelbook guy. Yeah.
Well, no, and then the Scream Factory ones. I wasn't a fan of the design anyway, so but I know people like those designs. It just wasn't one I can't judge on Steelbooks. I'm biased. Basically.
Yeah, that's true. Fair enough. Yeah, I actually really dig the artwork for part 3. Ironically, the most. I think that one is the one that's my favorite of the 3 right now. But I'll have a better opinion once I'm holding them and actually looking at them. But based on the photos, 3 looks like the one that might win me over.
Well, what about 2? Any cool extras you want to mention there? I know there's a couple.
Yeah. Well, we've got a cast commentary on there. It's brand new. We've got some. We've got the Kevin and Brian interview. We've got an interview with the producer Jeffrey. I fuck up his name every time. I'm sorry, Jeff. If he tells me once what it is, I'll never forget it. But I've never asked him, how do you pronounce it again? I've always heard everyone else pronounce it. So, we also have never the same. Yeah, we have the work print for part 2 on there.
There we go.
Which is a nice addition. It was interesting going through that material because we had a lot of that stuff, and I think that was the process that took the longest, honestly, because there was a lot of like work print dailies, trailers, all kinds of stuff that was just like, wait a minute, where did this come from? What was this for?
I'm most excited for people to finally see that alternate take of one specific scene. I won't spoil it.
Yes, there is a different special effects shot in the work print that isn't in the.
I'm intrigued because I don't know about this, and yeah, please don't spoil it. I want to find out on Christmas Day.
You got to wait till Christmas? Oh man,
I'm just treating it like Christmas. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough.
And then the third one, I mean, that's a big deal. It's the first Blu-ray released, first time in high definition, true high definition.
Yep. I can say with utmost certainty, it looks and sounds great. I've been very privileged to have seen the transfer already. It looks like a movie, which is awesome because the crappy full screen DVDs, VHS, they just never, they'd always felt like a made for TV kind of deal thing, and it's in widescreen, it's color timed properly. It actually looks like a movie. It's awesome. Someone's saying 3 sold out already.
Yeah,
Crack Rock.
The product's unavailable. Right there.
Well, fuck. I didn't. Well, thankfully, I know a guy, so hopefully.
I'm checking on the other ones. Was it up earlier, or was it just not put up yet? I don't know if it was ever.
We'll check on part 2. Part 2 would be one that you. Oh no,
9 in stock. Right there, 9 in stock.
So if you're watching this currently right now, minimize our screen and go place your order before it gets.
What's the trilogy bundle at? Is that still?
This one has almost 1,000.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's not completely. I mean, listen, realistically, like that price. All right. So I've seen some people online talk about this, and I do have to kind of agree to a certain extent. the price points on these are, they're pretty economically friendly. If you really want to get everything, spend the $200, whatever. But who the fuck is buying part 3 and not buying one?
You know what?
I mean?
Honestly, there's probably people who just want the movie who already own the first 2.
Yeah, but those people need the other ones because we have all
I
this new
agree.
stuff for them.
I'm
Especially
not-
maybe like the first one, maybe to a certain extent, like this is the 3rd release. I might understand some people wanting to pass on that one, but part 2, there's a ton of new extras, guys. Like, come on, like we've got a lot of new stuff on there. And,
so this set with the pins and the sticker is down to 81.
Look at that. See,
and the top set,
I think that one's still got a decent amount
about
of
500.
For now,
it's
Right.
limited to 500, so it's
once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah,
105, huh? Okay.
yeah, 105.99. There you go.
Don't sleep on this, guys. This
Yeah.
is
How did part 3 sell out? That's
I
weird.
don't know. Good catch. Was that Big Crack Rock?
big crack rock.
Unavailable. Look at that. So for part 3, we also got some interviews as well. The director, 2 commentaries on that one. What else did we get for part 3? An interview with Kevin, an interview with Jeff, an alternate director's cut of the film in from a work print. That's a fucking trip and a half to watch. It's a completely different cut of the movie, and it's an hour and 40 minutes. The release version's an hour and 25 with credits, so it's got like an extra 20-ish minutes of footage in there. It's pretty extensive. They asked me in the beginning if I could just give them, for both the work print and for the alternate cut, if I could just give them like the extended bits and the alternate like cuts or alternate scenes, and I very candidly told them there's just too much material. Like it's almost going to be just as long as the film if I do that, because especially with part 3, like it's a completely different cut of the film, and part 2 has alternate takes in the work print. Some scenes don't have the ADR, so you have that onset dialogue that sounds different. I'm like, just take the whole movie, and they were fine with that once they kind of knew. Because when you hear work print, you just think, oh, there's some extended footage, like give us that stuff, and the rest of the movie is still the rest of the movie. But in both of these cases, there was enough of a difference between the 2 versions that it was worthwhile putting both on there complete. So
That's freaking nuts. That's rad, though.
Yeah.
Todd's seen the director's cut of 3, haven't you, Todd?
I have.
Interesting.
And 2. Well, 2's.
Well, 2's cut the same way. It's just longer and has some extended shots. 3, like I said, is a different cut of the film.
Winter Steel 888. I love Angela dancing to Morbid Angel in part 2.
Oh, and we got interviews with her, with Amelia. We got interviews
Yeah.
with her.
Zombie. Will they remake part 2 and 3?
No.
Oh, there you go.
That's it. You get one word. That's all he could say. No.
No. Well, yeah. That's all there is to it. The answer is no.
Okay, here we go.
I was going to say I saw a question in here that I wanted to answer, but it went away. There it is.
This asshole again. Now that you've helped put out this dream release, what are your remaining white whales for Blu-ray or 4K?
Huh.
Way to bring
I
racing
don't know
to
if
it,
he
Dan.
needs to work on or just left, but we'll combine those. You can obviously whatever the white whale you want is, it's going to be something you'd also want to work on.
Right. I'd love to work on Fright Night 2, but everyone would like to work on Fright Night 2. I'm not alone there. I'm already working
You got my vote, Chris.
on Trick or Treat. That was one that was up there for me. Ironically, both of these, Night of the Demons and Trick or Treat, 2 Halloween horror movies that I love, are both coming out this year, and I worked on both. So maybe I got that magic touch. I don't know.
Is there a release date on
No, not yet.
okay, but it is still
There is the transfer on that is done. The audio mix is done. There's one thing holding up that release, and it's just one interview, but it's a really important one. So until the person sits down and interviews, which they're doing soon, we weren't announcing anything because we wanted to get that one interview done.
Fucking Dan,
Don't-
shut the fuck
Yeah, I
up.
was gonna. Don't bring that
Jesus.
one up.
We are now, fucker.
Oh, okay.
So other than that, I mean, like, so I mean, if Scream Factory did a 4K of Day of the Dead, that'd be cool to do something for. But like, there's already so much on that. I don't know what more I could bring to the table on that. And unfortunately, so many people that are part of that film aren't with us anymore. So that would be a tough one. Yeah, I honestly, this was kind of this year might be like the year that, like, except for Fright Night Part 2, that's probably, I guess that's the only one that seems impossible. But
unfortunately, My White Whale comes out on Blu-ray or 4K next month. So
what is it?
Toxic Avenger. Come on.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay.
Howard the Duck, Todd. Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck is already on.
I think we
No,
have like the
more
perfect
extras.
3 people to do new extras for Howard the Duck. Pugs is ready for his expose. He can do his tell all now.
I'm ready. He's been outed.
Zombie did ask earlier, is this if there was a Dawn of the Dead poster behind me? Yes.
I did answer that one for you.
No.
I do know the
Okay.
answer on that one.
Chris's room is very cozy and very cool. And one day, hopefully, I get to see it in person. But I've seen photos. I'm impressed. I like it.
Yeah, I was gonna set up in front of the Night of the Demons wall, but I'm on a very comfortable couch right now, and over there there's no couch. So
That wins.
You're supposed to stack up all your VHS tapes, though, at least in front of you. I'm glad I used it for the art.
I was gonna go grab one of the 20 that I have.
With the comfortable couch.
It was the couch, man. Like this isn't even this would have been funny, but I usually do have one within arm's reach. Like there usually is a copy around somewhere for some reason. And the one copy I had on my table in front of the couch, I put away on the shelf yesterday.
Insanity.
Here's some dailies.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, there's a tape with dailies on it.
So.
Question: will those ever become available?
They're on the disc. There's some of them on there.
No, the OG copies.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think the OG. I mean,
Okay.
well, never say never. Todd will put a price tag on anything. So.
Well, I mean those. Oh, I can't say which ones. Never mind.
Yeah, easy.
We put some of that. We didn't put everything. I mean, there was. I mean, how many tapes are there? Is it like 20?
From the ones that I got from Kevin, there's probably about 20.
But what about the ones we had before?
I got about
Part 2.
like for just Part 2.
Yeah,
I think here's the one I have the whole box of complete.
Yeah, there's a lot. It's like 40 hours of footage. There's no way. I mean, first of all, no one wants to sit through 40 hours of dailies unless you're making the film and you're watching it, every day yourself, because you're obviously not watching 40 hours all at once. But when I told Todd we wanted some of the dailies for behind the scenes bits and some alternate takes of scenes and maybe some extra bits of gore because the camera lingers longer because it's daily and they don't cut whatever. I said just pick like 10 tapes at random and scan those, and then we'll go from there. And then that's pretty much what he did. So,
all right.
I thought some cool stuff ended up on there.
Yeah, no, I did too. I was really into what was there.
I tried to pick good ones. I put one. I was like, I don't know this one. Yeah. So
Zombie just said Part 1 is down to 11 copies. So
wow.
This is awesome, guys.
I wish I had asked for $1 per copy that they sold. No, I'm just kidding.
11. Yeah, jeez.
Hey, man, you guys' names are on there, right? So.
Yeah, I actually
9 in stock for 2. These all are going to sell out right now.
I was telling my mother
Before
about
we're
it.
Done. Go buy them.
I was like, hey mom, are you gonna buy a set? And she's looking. She goes, what am I buying these for? I said, my name's on all 3 of them. If you watch the features, I'm on all of them. She goes, well, aren't you gonna get them? And I said, yeah. She goes, what do I need to buy them for?
Thanks for the support, Mom.
I was like, yeah, thanks, Mom. So,
no, she's one of the ones that just bought 3.
Yeah, right. Well, what's funny is my mother, So my mother's not really a horror person. She likes some horror movies, but she's of course seen Night of the Demons. She's friends. I'm not saying like, oh, she's chatted with these two. She's like legit friends with Linnea and Amelia. She met them and they fell in love with her. And like Linnea and my mother got lost for 45 minutes together. Amelia like kidnapped her for half the afternoon. Like they started talking about animals, and the next thing everyone knew, they were friends. And that's so I was like, you're friends on these. You should buy them and support your friends. She go, well, yeah, but didn't work.
You're a copy, Chris. That's all.
I know, right?
Well, now you can buy a copy for her and then save all the swag.
Oh, I know, right?
There you go.
I'm looking at some of your comments here because you guys aren't doing a good job.
I'm trying to keep
Some
up.
were the bringing up.
Some I just don't pull up.
Okay.
Mostly that Dan asshole.
I don't know. I told him to buy a shirt. He's bitching about not blah blah blah. Okay, here we go. I don't know. You want to address that?
Big Crack Rock. People have been waiting for a new transfer forever. It's possible they might be trying to sell pins, and maybe more will go up. Who knows?
I think that means for part 3 selling out, right?
No, I think, yeah, I think.
So they might have sold out of the posters on the single release. They might have allotted only so many.
Yeah.
Because it's on Amazon. I probably don't know if I should be saying that, but it is. Whatever, it's on there.
I mean, it's always
they're going to buy it. People are going to buy it from wherever they're going to buy it from. But it's
Isn't
on
Amazon known for canceling orders from Scream Factory without letting the customer
That was when
know?
they had their weird issues a while back.
But I'm not making shit up, right? It has happened in the past.
Yes.
Yeah, it has.
Order from Scream Factory to make sure you got a copy.
Hasn't happened for a while. Plus, you get it early.
Yeah. So yeah, the posters, they don't give a number on those, but it's while supplies last for the posters.
Right. My suspicion is that they've just sold out of the posters.
Yeah, I'm sure that they're going to pop back up as the normal, like all the titles do, as a normal.
Well, if it does well enough, they'll probably do a second print, right?
I haven't.
They
seen
usually
them
don't on the posters. Yeah. No.
Oh, okay.
No, not in the posters. But it's not even like these posters. Like my hat's off to Joel. And again, like I didn't see these. I saw them and my friend said, "Oh, those are cool." I was like, "Oh, yeah, fuck, they are." So hats off to him for blowing my mind.
Big Crack Rock. Amazon has been bad lately. To Live and Die, Jaws 2 both got delayed a month for me. All right. Well, delay is better than a cancellation. So
yeah,
right.
That's just because those are
those
are in high demand.
I
don't know. Do we have any other questions out there in the chat, guys?
I'm looking because again, you guys are terrible. Dan asked about Necronomicon and Paper House. I have no idea what the issue is with those. Don't know. Wow. Some people are getting vulgar in this chat, huh?
Well, they're a demographic.
Go figure. Yeah, so no, this was a lot of fun to do, and I was really grateful to be asked to do it. Because Lord knows there are other people out there who have been doing this longer that I could have helped. You know what I mean? Somebody would have been asking me like, "Oh, I'm working on Night of the Demons for Scream Factory. Can you help me get some people together?" And I would have done it.
That's why you were the man for it. You wanted the job to get done, whether it's you or somebody else you can help out.
Yeah.
I think Chris is done letting other people try to do it.
Yeah, I have a history. One thing I do want to address, and this was asked a lot, the actress Zoe Trilling, who plays Shirley in Night of the Demons 2. Zoe has a very sad past in the last, I would say, 20 years or so. I tried to track her down for another project. I spoke to her mother, and her mother didn't even know where she was. Knows she's okay, but doesn't know where she is. And recently it kind of came to my attention that somebody had been saying that they were in communication with her recently, and she was really upset that she wasn't involved in the Dr. Giggles Blu-ray, that no one ever reached out to her. And that, I didn't want this coming back and biting me in the ass. So, because I was like, well, wait a minute. We tried to find this girl 5 years ago, and I tried again and came up with nothing. So if somebody has contact info for her, I was going to be like, I found her. I want to get an extra in. Like, we have to get this in. Let me get something in right now. I'll pull it together in the next 48 hours. Just let me do it. But anyway, long story short, like, this dude kind of backtracked. It was like, oh, it was a few years ago that I talked to her. Okay. Well, Dr. Giggles came out in 2023, so I need answers.
Right.
Long story short, she doesn't want to be found. She's a person who's private, and she has opted out of the industry for her own reasons. People are disappointed she's not a part of this release and other films because she made an impression. She was great in Night of the Demons 2. I would have loved to have gotten her. But I do want to throw that out there that she's just not available. She doesn't want to be made available. If she did, she'd be a lot easier to find. When we do this stuff, and I've worked on other projects, not just this, but with, other companies, we ask everybody. We start from the main cast and we work our way down.
Do the footwork,
Yeah, and unless somebody specifically says this is only who we want for this reason, we go down the entire cast, and whoever's got contact info, we reach out to that first through whatever means, an agent or talent company. And if they have someone who's gone out of the industry and you have to find other means, there's other ways to track them down. Todd and I did that with Video Dead forever ago. And that was something everybody in that film, I think with the exception of like a production assistant and one of the actors, wasn't in the business anymore. And you had a guy named Robert Scott who has the most generic fucking name in all of history. Might as well be John Smith, directing and writing and producing. There were 900 Robert Scotts in California alone. That's Northern California, mind you. And I didn't find him. He found me. So it was like, we go through the motions. We try to get everybody we can. And Zoe was at the top of my list for both projects, for the documentary and for the Blu-ray. And in both instances, I was assured she was okay, but she would rather remain private and out of the spotlight. And that's all there is to it. But I know that in some ways people would see what she's missing and not interviewed and hear what that dude said. And, he may have misspoke, and that's fine. It happens to everybody. But I don't want it coming back and biting Shout Factory or me in the butt where someone's like, well, she said on this to this guy that she wants to do it, but you didn't reach out to her. And it's like, no, that's not what happened. So I wanted to clear that error out now.
Just so it's on the record.
Just so it is.
That is one of the first ones that comes up when you bring up part 2.
Yeah. Well, ironically, maybe that's ironically, the original concept for 2 wasn't to bring Angela back for Joe Augustine. This was he doesn't mention this in this interview, and I wish he had, but I think he him and I talked about this years ago. But the original concept for 2 was Shirley was going to be the new lead demon, because he wanted each film to have a new lead demon character. He didn't want it to be a reoccurring character that kept coming back like a Freddy or a Jason. And Republic was the one who was like, no, we want Angela back. We want Freddy. We want Jason. So you've got to give us. It was.
I like the argument. It's not the demons, not Night of the Angela.
Right. So, and I think that's part of the reason why Suzanne isn't back for the sequel either, because he really wasn't too crazy about bringing Angela back, so he just brought her back, and then obviously part 3 has her as well. She sort of became that character for the franchise, but I still think it would have been cool to see both her and Linnea in part 2 playing demons again. But Linnea never got asked, so it never happened. If only.
Yeah.
You know.
That's unfortunate. Well, I just did a check, and we're down to 9 on part 2 and 10 on part 1. So think of it like this: only 10 people just bought part 3.
Maybe they're working their way down. They're having a hard time with their
And one person was like, "I just need." Well, you know what? If they were going to get all 3, wouldn't they just buy the set?
I was going to say the trilogy set ends up being only $10 more. Plus, you got the additional slips and the sticker. So it's like
sometimes people get excited and they make dumb decisions.
And you get the other posters. Like that's. If you want my professional opinion on which one,
Please.
I mean, obviously the lobby cards are amazing, but you know, if you're kind of in a budget range, you know that the other 2 sets are under $200. You know what I mean? Like. But those are the ones.
But the thing with this, if I get the one with the buttons, I'm going to pay that extra $25 for the lobby card. Well, I don't know.
The black box that it comes in, man. That's what's really caught my eye. So,
yeah. They do that with that's like pretty much their new thing. They've been doing that since Halloween 4Ks, I think.
Yeah, I didn't get a box for that. Oh, you know what? I opened it one time and I put it away. So actually, I can't confirm.
Maybe
probably
it's next year paper hats.
Look, I bought the damn thing.
I mean, I feel like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm fine. I would be fine with any of them. I mean, obviously, but I mean, if I was on the outside looking in, I would definitely be buying that big bundle with everything. You know.
Yeah, with your love of the movie / franchise, I would imagine.
You want to get everything, yeah. The only thing I'm surprised by is they didn't do this with Pumpkinhead. I know they announced Pumpkinhead today, which I had nothing to do with. But they did new art for the Blob. They did new art for Night of the Demons and 2 and 3. But Pumpkinhead didn't get a new poster or a new exclusive slip. That one perplexes me.
I wonder if it was a licensing thing, because I remember
could be
they've done it before though. But I know sometimes there was reasons they couldn't do them. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love the artwork. They chose the video art, which there were people. That was the other, you know. Of course, when these both got these all these were starting to leak, and they were supposed to get announced later today, but they got leaked earlier, and people started talking about them. And I bite my tongue so often nowadays. I feel like I'm going to start drawing blood, but people already like complaining that, like, you know, oh, they better have this, you know, this, and they better have this, and they better have that, and there better be this extra and that extra. And I'm like, motherfucker, be happy with whatever we gave you, knowing full well, like, you know, anyone who looks at any of these and goes, oh, you know, they didn't give us enough extras, to be like, oh, okay.
What's the
nerd rage, man?
Chris?
What is it?
Like to be on the other side of that now, Chris.
It's not my first time. This isn't my first rodeo. You know, when we announced Trick or Treat, when we did it on our podcast, the Spooky Picture Show. Thank you, Todd.
It was going to be the Creepy Picture Show. So
I'm talking the minute after our announcement went live and we got off the air and everybody was, you know, sharing it, talking about it, making their videos, posts, whatever. There was one guy in one group that commented, they better include the soundtrack or no sale. And I just remember reading that and going, we just announced a title that people have been after for 10 plus years on this format that has been in copyright hell. And we managed to you know, cut through the weeds and dig through the bush and help figure out how to get this movie released. And not only released, but in 4K. We're not just doing a Blu-ray. We're doing an Ultra HD, newly remastered, 5.1, you know, original stereo 2.0, interviews with cast and crew, interviews with, you know, still gallery, whatever, music videos, whatever. And you got this motherfucker who's like, I want the $6.99 soundtrack I can get off of Amazon right now, or I'm not buying this shit.
The thing is, how does he not already own it if he's such a big fan?
Well, that's what I wanted to say. You know,
invite me on. I'll call this fuck out. Like, buy another disc of one of those clamps. They have 2 of them.
Yeah.
Buy them separately. Put them together. Stop being an asshole.
Like, what the fuck, guys? So I mean, you can't please everybody, you know. But with Night of the Demons 2 and 3, the benefit we had with 2 was when 2 came out through Olive, they just had a commentary. So if we did one new extra, it was worth it. The benefit we had with 3 has never had a release period on DVD or Blu-ray stateside. So that just coming out on its own was probably enough. So anything we included would have been great.
But the question is, does it come with the soundtrack?
I was gonna say, are you gonna answer it here?
It's not unheard of for Synops to include the soundtrack.
It's not. No, what, Trick or Treat or Night of the Demons? I can't say.
No, I know. I'm just saying it's not unheard of for Synops to include it.
I don't know if they've made any type of announcements about a soundtrack coming with it or not yet. I know that it's something that was discussed, but I don't know where it ended up. Night of the Demons 2 and 3 don't have soundtracks with them, but nobody's asking for those. Although the score for part 3 is really good. I really like that score a lot. It's a pretty kick-ass score. I like the one for part 2 as well, but the one for part 3 is just stands out.
Big Crack Rock. I'm not picky. I usually zone out and start thinking about food if the extras are longer than 20 minutes. That's pretty funny.
You're gonna think about food a few times. I'm sorry.
Kevin Ellis. My bank account hates me now, but we love you for buying it, so thank you.
Yeah,
Kevin.
Yeah, what's up?
Which one did you buy, Kevin?
If the bank hates him, I'm assuming it's the top tier.
I was gonna say, I know what.
Uh-oh. You touched your mic, Chris.
You
went out.
You went out.
The light went out, so.
I hit the mute button. I thought I locked this thing. Kevin's wife made him buy that, so I know which one he got. He got the $200 one. Because she tagged me in it, and then he commented, and she's like, "I want this," and I'm like, "I know which one he's buying."
Good job. You were the guy. If you are the one who just bought part 3, please let us know. We want to hear from you.
The one that sold out part 3. I'm actually curious who did. That would make. I want to know who did that.
I know. I'm checking the numbers on the other ones. Well, we're still at 9 on 2. 9, it's holding steady, and 10 on the first one.
Dude, that shit'll be gone by tomorrow. That's awesome, actually.
Yeah, I think there's a good shot. The big one will go the next. It's at 500. Under 5.
But it was also just announced a couple of hours ago, or just released, I should say.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's not going to last
long.
Right? No, they were just announced. So when they told me they were going to announce these, I was like, oh, cool. They told me on Friday, or we're making the announcement on Monday, and I was like, oh, cool, great. And then fucking Paul Rubens dies today, and I'm like, move the announcement to tomorrow. This can't be a good day for anybody. You have to move it to tomorrow. And they were already in the process of getting ready to announce it. I was like, fuck.
R.I.P.
Yes. We had a graphic on the first show tonight.
I know.
Fucking bummer.
Yeah. So.
And my boy from Euphoria, Fez. I forgot his real name. He died today too. Thankfully this news caps off the day as a better day, but man, earlier sucked.
Well.
Yeah, no shit. Sorry. Yeah, that was a surprise.
Is there anything more before we get out of here? Anyone have any other questions? This is your chance. Ask Chris how long.
I know. I can't there's.
What's the runtime on? What's the runtime on the work print of Night of the Demons 2?
An hour and 42 minutes.
And you said it ran how much longer?
Like That's 2 runs. Wait a minute.
Isn't that one under
2
90?
is an hour and 30. An hour and 39.
39.
It runs 3 minutes longer than the finished version, the complete version, but that doesn't mean it's just 3 minutes longer.
Right. No, I know.
It's 3 minutes longer for sure, but it has alternate takes. It also has some slightly different bits of dialogue because ADR was added in later, and that kind of thing. Night of the Demons 3.
Zombie says, Chris, make sure you come back online with these guys more. Zombie, you should also check out Spooky Picture Show.
Do I know this person?
Not personally, no. He's
No,
just one of our regular listeners.
Hi. So, Night of the Demons 3.
Buddy Zombie.
The work print was 1 hour and 39 minutes. That's with no opening credits or anything. So, the finished version of part 3 is 1 hour and 25. So, that has an additional 20 minutes of footage, roughly. Also, it's re-edited, alternate takes. There is some stuff in that director's cut I was baffled by. I frankly couldn't understand.
So you're saying it's not the definitive cut? It's not the director's cut?
So here's the funny part. There's stuff in it that I wish they had left in the finished film, and actually after reevaluating it, now Kevin Tenney, who edited the finished version, sort of agreed there was a few things he wished he had left in too. But he was so pissed off at how bad it turned out for him because he was the writer and it just wasn't the vibe he wanted. He was just cutting shit out left and right. Like without credits, that movie's 72 minutes long. So it's the shortest one of the 3. And originally it was the longest one of the 3 on, completely put together. So, but there's some stuff where you're just like, what's also kind of interesting is in one of the interviews on the disc, one of the most baffling things about the whole thing is explained by somebody completely out of nowhere that I didn't know was responsible. Everyone was blaming the director, but it wasn't actually the director. It was somebody else's fault that this one thing happened and they had to go and reshoot.
And we'll have to watch the extras to find out.
Yeah, there's some cool dailies for part 3 too that are going to be on there. Some cool behind the scenes stuff. Some nice gory bits and extra blood and gore. It's always fun. Some stuff that didn't make the final cut. The part 3 is unrated, so it's not like they cut it for an R rating. It's there's supposed to be an R. Someone told me there was an R-rated cut of 3. I'm like, how could there be an R-rated cut of 3? First of all, 3 is not that bad. Secondly, it's the shortest as it is now. What's the R-rated cut? An hour in 10 minutes? Like, what the hell?
Short.
Yeah. So I don't know what they would have cut out because there's nothing in part 3 that's too. I think that pushes the envelope really, even in the but
no,
it'll be in HD. So
you got some cop killing, so that's always problematic.
Some who?
Some cop killing.
Oh, well, I mean, it does come back as a demon, so there's that. I do want to give a shout out to some of the other folks who helped with these discs too. Gregory Van Albert. Oh, Greg, I'm so sorry. I love you. Gregory Van Abelair. I probably still mispronounced that. Greg. And by the way, says hello, Todd. He loves you.
Hello, Greg. Okay.
So it's the same Greg you're thinking of.
I know. I'm trying to pronounce his name properly.
Van Abelaar, I think, or Abelaar. I hate myself.
Yeah. I What up, Greg?
What up, Greg? So Greg has been awesome. He is a great help as well. But so one of the cool things is a few years ago, Greg donated some of his time and helped us get an interview for another project. I just keep dancing around that topic. And Todd helped, and
Dan was even there.
And met Dan.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
And we didn't have any money to pay Greg anything. But Greg spent an entire 2 days basically working for free. So Todd was going through stuff we had been given by the producers of the Demons films and some other films. And he found the snake puppet from Night of the Demons 3 with the girl's hand turns into a snake. And he sends me a picture of it, fully expecting me to be like, I want that. Send it to me. And I said, you got to give that to Greg. Because part 3 is actually, I don't know if it's his favorite, but he loves part 3. And he really loves the Lois character whose hand turns into a snake. So Todd gave that to him, and like it's like one of his most treasured possessions. He plans on getting buried with it. Like there's just like he has it on display, and he's just such a wonderful person, and he's so great to have in your corner. You know, if I was having a stressful period working on these, and you know, it's not all rainbows and unicorns. There's, you know, there are some things that pop up or some, you know, hurdles you have to overcome. I just pick up the phone and call him, and he would kind of turn it around, you know, because he you know, would always try to remind you there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and no, it's not a train. When this is all done, you're going to be really happy, and everyone's going to be really excited, and you know.
Was he right?
Yeah.
There
yeah,
you go.
Yeah.
All right, Greg.
People are excited, you know.
Big crack rock. I can't believe Dan betrayed the show tonight. Thank you.
I'm just gonna leave that one up for the rest.
You should. You should. And I also did give a shout out to Kevin. Kevin was very helpful. Steve Johnson, Michael Felcher. They were, you know, Felcher went out and shot Joe Augustin's interview for me in Philadelphia, and you know, that was awesome. And yeah, and then yeah, so a good group of people got together to help make these possible. So without them, this would have been a lot harder, you know. But and fucking Todd, producer Todd, you know, went out to the airport to go pick up Brian Trenchard Smith, dragged him to his ghetto ass hotel.
I got to hear about Pip and Pee-wee, the Porky sequel, so that was a bonus.
Yep. And then got him to the studio, got him interviewed, and
got him some beer.
Got him some, yeah, even got him some beer. You know, he helped him out.
Hospitality.
Yep. So you know, there was Jim Coons, who really, he did a marathon day for me where we booked 7 people that day for him to go through. It's his idea. I mean, he said he wanted to do it, but I was like, all right, if you want me to do it, I'll do it. But I don't think he, you know, we did interviews, commentary. So he was like, oh, because it's different setups, you know. I think if I had done straight interviews all day, he would have been fine. But if I kind of mixed it up, but yeah, good times. It was a good time. It was good doing it, but I'm glad it's done.
Yes. I'm sure there's still some tweaks you want to do.
I won't even look at that stuff right now. No,
not till it's pressed it on a disc. No, you can watch it.
No, once it's pressed on a disc and I watch, I'm gonna go fuck.
There's gonna be some.
I know. Well, that. So the other benefit of all this was I had Kevin Tenney. He watched everything that we gave him, and he caught stuff that we didn't. And I know you had your own team looking at your shit that you were doing for the other titles that we can't talk about yet. So it was like we had like, it wasn't just my eyes looking at this stuff. There were other people involved that were helping, that looked at it too and said, "Oh, wait, by the way."
It's hard to go over your own stuff because your mind kind of puts together what should be there if you forget.
Right. And also too, on top of it, and digital editing is a little weird because you can make a cut on something, but if you hold the mouse a sliver of a section over from where you want to be, you're going to get a half a frame in your shot where you're trying to make a cut, and that half a frame is going to pop up and it's going to seem really weird. Even though it only flashes on screen for like a half a second, someone's going to see it and you're just going to go, wait, what was that? And they're going to rewind and pause and look and see, oh, there's this one half of a frame that pops up. That's what made that happen. So I had to look for all those. Kevin saw all of them. I missed a couple, and everyone he found.
I'm pretty sure I had 0 of those. I don't think I got.
I don't know if you did or not.
I got a note on other things, but like I get annoyed when I see them in YouTube videos. Like they just, my editor's eye just immediately. Like I also have a thing like from the over the shoulder shot where you can tell their lips aren't properly matching. The ADR's like not matching.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, I see it more and more now. It seems like it's getting worse. Yeah. Or I'm noticing it more.
Yes, I did edit these as well. You know, this was my first directing, producing, editing job on my own. And I chose the people I wanted to work with, and we got it done. It's amazing. what you can put together.
I'm like,
With
no
the right
time.
people. Yeah.
It was a tight time frame.
That was the other part that was sketchy, was scary as fuck. Is they were like, okay, here you go. We need it in 3 weeks. Okay. What? So, but we got it done, and
They got it like 3 weeks and 3 days.
well, it actually helped. There was a holiday. We had the 4th of July, so there was some stuff that was added in last minute because we had the benefit of the cushion of the holiday, so we were able to who's next? Who's next? Who's next? I want to know who this.
I don't know who that is.
Who? What? What?
I was waiting to see if I'm blocking.
Net stalker. What's his name?
It didn't pop up on my thing.
It says this dude is dumb. Well, which one are you referring to?
Yeah, there's 3 here.
Let's talk. I think he.
I just ignore the trolls. I don't feed them.
No, smart, unlike others.
I mean, I never know who they're talking about. Like, they could be talking about Dan. He's just not here.
He wants Night of the Demons in 4K. 3 in 4K.
Oh, you want 3 in 4K? Well, so here's
a soundtrack.
Was he the soundtrack guy? Were you mad about? Okay.
Well, I mean, you'll be able to do it in HD, I guess. That's not good.
That's what I hit it.
That's not good enough. I do want to point out the plan was to do 2 and 3 and 4K, but we couldn't get access to the elements for those. That's why that didn't happen. So that's not on them. That's the studio telling them no.
We got a better thing to end on out there. That's good.
I still want to know who that was, though. Why do you like? I feel like that was probably Dan.
Nah.
It's probably someone Dan brought in. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Well,
you guys work for Screenplay. Oh, nice acting.
Well, they're gone now, so it doesn't matter.
Was banned and their comments were removed. Oh, frick! I shouldn't have waited on 2 and 3.
I guess they're gone.
Oh, 2's gone now. Well, I know 3 is.
Yeah, 3 is. Wasn't he the one that told us 3 was gone?
But I'm saying he said he wanted. No, 2's still 9 in stock. Oh, but he just wanted 2 and 3, so now he can have 2 and 3.
Oh, I see. We did talk about a box set at one point too, but that didn't happen. I mean, the bundle happened, but there was no box set.
But it comes with that cool black box, which is.
It does, yeah.
You're not a fan, Pugs.
Of the black box?
Of black box.
Wait, what? He's not a fan of black box?
Plane crashes scare me. Yeah. Look how well I do, Todd.
I'm making a dirty joke that's going over your head, Chris. So it's probably good.
No, I listen. I'm not 12. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm choosing to ignore it. Dan, Volume 2.
Oh no.
I can't speak on whether or not they're going to get access to those materials, Big Crack Rock. So, if it happens, who knows? But I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth. Right now, they were told, no, this is what we have. This is what you're getting, and that's what we were. And they both look great. And the thing about part 3 that impressed me is how great it sounded. The sound on it was awesome. It really has a good mix. So I was like, wow,
it's a movie now.
It really is. It really feels like a movie.
It feels like it was an SOV movie. Now it feels like a movie.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I mean, 3 has, 3 has its warts. I mean, it's still. I just revisited the trilogy with a couple of friends. We do a weekly movie night, and my friend's son had never seen any of them, so we did 1, 2, and 3. And one of them had never seen 3, one hadn't seen 3 in forever. And they both kind of have the same opinion. Like 3 is the worst of the trilogy, but it's not a bad movie. It's just not like it of the 3. It's the lesser, but it still is a pretty entertaining flick. And I'm like, yeah, that's that's a pretty good assessment of it. It's not the greatest of the three, but it's still solid enough. And
It's fun. It's a good time.
yeah, I mean, it's certainly not another part 3 that, you know, that we had to.
No selling it. I can't.
I'm
no.
lost, but okay.
The other stuff we can't talk about.
Yeah, it happens. Anything else? Is there anyone else besides? I really wish that troll guy would come back. I want to see. Who else
I'm sure we attracted some Scream Factory trolls too.
Just
But I'm sure that was one of Dan's.
All right. Well, just like Dan's 2 and 3, we're out.
All right. Well, on that note, good night. Hugs.
Hold on, Chris. Thank you for joining us.
I was going to do
what?
Okay. Go.
And thank you for joining us, Todd and Chris. Thank you for helping bring this to life. And Chris, before we head out, promote all your stuff, your socials, your podcast, everything.
Yeah, so Spooky Picture Show, we're everywhere except for YouTube, ironically, which is where this is. So, but you guys are other places too, so whatever. But we're an audio only podcast for now. We have dabbled with the idea of going to video content, but we haven't quite gotten there yet. So Spooky Picture Show, you can find us on Amazon, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And we do episodes once a month, about on average. Sometimes we miss a month, sometimes we do 2 a month, sometimes we do 3 a month, like last October.
It's October. You got to step up.
Well, that was out of necessity because our co-host Peter was leaving the show, and we had talked about doing a franchise show for the Halloween franchise, and we had just done Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th. And now we're like, well, fuck, now we've got to do Halloween. But I didn't want to be the podcast that does a Halloween franchise in October and only does that. So we did like a Halloween horror movie thing. And then I got the brilliant fucking idea of doing a midnight hour cast reunion. And that was show number 3. And then that was our big,
I remember we put off our Halloween show because you were doing yours.
Yeah. So
and I just shared the podcast on Spotify in the chat. So
thank
you guys
you.
If you haven't already followed, all that stuff, go do it now.
Yeah, check us out. We're also on Facebook, and we don't post on Instagram that often. And Twitter, we don't use at all. But hey, if you want to follow us on either one of those things, go for it. But we do use Facebook primarily to kind of get the word out there. But yeah, just check us out. We're, I kickstarted this jackass in the top left corner, producer Todd, into doing podcasts. He was at the time when him and I were just hanging out and being buddies. I was like, hey, you want to do a podcast with me? And he was like, yeah, sure. And then,
he didn't ask me the first round.
I didn't. I didn't know. You know what? I don't think I knew you well enough to really ask you at that point. Or maybe it was just...
You said you didn't think I was going to want to do it.
That too.
And you were probably right when you did. The only reason I did it was because you were in need of someone. So I was like, all right, I'll do it.
Oh, yeah. Like I really twisted your arm. And then, and then he started doing it with Dan. And, I'm sorry for that. The rest
got
is
us
history.
on the Horror Society.
Oh, God. The horror.
Yeah.
Let's not go there. So to remain professional, but yeah. So thanks, guys, for having me on.
Always a pleasure.
I'm happy to come on and to answer questions. So
we're hoping you'll be back on for the next announcement.
Yeah. I mean, like that one's going to be more. Well, not more you. I mean, you'll have more to say because you were more involved there. But
excellent. Right. Todd, say good night, sir.
Good night.
Mr. Chris, you can also say good night.
Good night.
Say whatever.
Yeah, or whatever you want, pretty much.
I already said it.
I'll see you in Disneyland.